Well, for some of us, it is 9 o'clock.
Well, yes, maybe that's why my brain was saying it.
I mean, that's fair. Um, Masters.
Hmm.
Have you seen it?
Of course I have.
Have you seen it twice yet?
No.
Okay,
I'm going to go back and watch all of them back to back.
I watched it twice.
I haven't done that yet, though.
So good. Like I'm not even.
I
I'm
totally
not.
called it.
We're
I
not.
totally called it,
We're
though.
not. We're not doing a lead in. Although,
Nope, I totally called it.
although I do have to laugh because, um, one of Rokebutt was being needy, in her words, and I just hung up with her. Um,
Oh, yeah, she texted me and said, I need you.
yeah, I didn't.
Or notice me, or I don't know. I ignored her.
Yeah, I didn't. But in response, I told her that Kylo Ren showed up.
Oh, my goodness. He's not even alive yet.
Well, up until this episode, we didn't know that. Like, we did not.
We knew that.
Well, no, because we've had no real touching on any of the.
Yeah, the timeline is set directly after the Return of the Jedi.
Ish? Like, directly after and directly after are two different things. Remember, this is a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. There's some time dilation going on here. And so I'm just looking at this now and I'm like, okay, now I know where we are. But yeah. I was having fun with that. Where do you even begin? Like, this is good.
Hey, let's do something different this time. Let's just not talk about Star Wars at all.
But why? And what else is there
to see if you're even capable?
As I was saying, what else is there to talk about? Okay, we can talk. Okay, we'll save it. We'll put it off. Okay. I am coming rapidly to the conclusion that, well, not I already came to the conclusion, but I am now doubling down on my estimation that I hate giving and receiving gifts, because then you're obligated to return the gift. Not return the gift, but like to respond to the gift.
Uh-huh.
I hate it.
Yeah. Me too.
And people just don't understand. Like, okay, so there are some situations where you are just not going to be able to get out of it. You are socially obligated to engage in some level of gift giving. So we as a society have come to a place generally where we are finding ways to mitigate or to minimize the amount of effort we have to put into this. Such things like, drawing names, Secret Santa, things like this. White elephant gifts. So, at my workplace, 2 months ago, we draw names for Secret Santa. Okay, fine. I get my gift for the person on my list. Not a problem. Thursday, one of my coworkers, who's also part of the Secret Santa thing, shows up with individual gift bags for everybody. Everybody in the Secret Santa exchange. And we're like, and I mean, not like, like there are people who like, they give you gift bags just like candy, and like there's no really expectation that you're going to respond to that at all. And that's fine. Okay, great. You give me some candy, I'll buy a bag of candy and I'll throw it at people. Fine. No. This guy shows up, and I'm not a drinker, so everybody else got this, but everyone else in our department got like, wine and tequila and all. Like, okay. And then he knows me pretty well, like really well. He bought me a box of 9mm, which nowadays is worth more than the wine. A lot more. And so, like, I'm like, oh crap, now I gotta respond to, like, now I gotta get a gift for him. And then the next day, another person in the Secret Santa exchange shows up with gift bags for everybody, with like legitimately good stuff. Like, I'm actually drinking out of her gift to me. It's really cool. It's just a mug. But it's really cool. Muggy says, I'm not feeling very worky today because I'm at the point where
Who is though?
I know, but I used to do a much better job at hiding it. Like the last 6 months, I have just like not been hiding it at all. I just show up and I'm like, screw it, I want to go home.
Uh-huh. Yep. I get that. And I am at home.
So, anyway, I had to go to the mall of all places because Amazon can't guarantee delivery by Monday when we're supposed to actually have our Secret Santa exchange.
Maybe you should have thought this through before,
Well,
waiting to the last minute.
no. I had my gift for my person from the Secret Santa exchange weeks ago.
Uh-huh.
Okay, maybe not weeks ago. A week ago.
So why did you have to go to the mall?
Because now everybody in the Secret Santa exchange is buying extra gift bags for everybody else in the Secret Santa exchange, and if I'm the one guy who doesn't, and I'm the one guy who doesn't, I'm the bad guy.
Shoot, I'm okay with being the bad guy.
I'm not okay with being the bad guy.
Absolutely not.
Actually, take it back. I am okay with being the bad guy in D&D, but not. In fact, I'm quite good at it. But that's a whole other story.
Yeah, absolutely not gonna do that.
And so we get through all this craziness, and just no. So I spent 3 hours at the mall today, trying to, because I'm not a good gift giver in the first place. I don't know what people like. I don't know what people want. I don't want to know what people want. I go out of my way. I appear surly at all times possible so that I don't have to engage with this kind of crap. Here's a gift, and here's another one, and hey, we're all going to bring some more on Monday. Isn't that going to be so great? No! Leave me alone.
No. I'm an excellent gift giver. I don't do it unless I just absolutely want to. So
No,
I feel zero social obligation for if you get me a gift, thanks. I'm not getting you one unless I want to.
yeah.
I have risen above social ingenuity.
I don't. You mean engineering?
You mean what I know?
Hmm. Anyway, so isn't every single movie out there now decrying the evils of holiday commercialism? Like, shouldn't we all just embrace this idea? Hey, I'm not getting you a gift. I am protesting holiday commercials. Like, just across the board. Can we all just do that? Like, and wouldn't this be a great year to do that too? Like, we can't go visit anybody anyway. You can't see their face either light up or get really disappointed or go like, holy crap, what was this person thinking when they opened your gift anyway? This would be a great year to just go, screw holiday commercial, except for the fact that like every single store would close permanently. Wait, let me think about this. Wait a second, this might have some advantages. I hadn't thought about these. I still want to get some more ammunition first. Okay.
Oh, Gavin.
I have issues.
Yeah, you have lots of those.
I mean, like, if I want stuff, I just buy it. I just like, this is how.
Yep. The privilege of being an adult.
I did some math this couple weeks ago, and I realized just how much I spent on guns this year.
Yep, I could have told you that.
It would have been cheaper to go to Disney.
I said that, in fact.
Twice.
I'm pretty sure I said those exact words. Yeah.
It would have been way cheaper to go to Disney twice. Oh, man.
In fact, I think the last time I went, I said it would be cheaper if you just went to Disney with me.
Yeah, but I mean, I am.
Then you could have ridden Rise of the Resistance with me and been disappointed with me when I wasn't thrilled with it.
You know, that's because you spoiled yourself, and I have no sympathy for you. There's zero sympathy for you whatsoever.
Yeah, well, mistakes were made.
Hmm.
For somebody who avoids trailers at all costs, I'm not sure why I did it in the first place.
I don't know. It's Have you ever heard the solution to the question as to which hurts more? Um, a woman giving birth or a man getting hit in balls?
Yes. Let's find out.
No. You heard the solution to the question?
Yeah. What?
Someone came up with an answer to the question as to which hurts more.
Sure they did.
Yeah. Super simple. So a man sitting there.
Oh yes, I know
Yeah.
I understand it now. Yes.
I mean, our viewers may not. So here we go. Man sitting there, you know, on the weekend. Not one to not like me. He does drink. He's got a beer in his hand. Yeah. Contemplating which hurts more. In particular. Um or birth, and he starts to think, well, so women give birth all the time, and men have unfortunate accidents, so which of them actually hurt? Comes to this conclusion that after a number of years, a woman may go, I'd like to have a child. But there's never history of humankind been a man who's like, it's been too long since I got kicked in the balls. I think I should get that done again. Thus, the kicked in the balls hurts more.
I have evidence to the contrary.
you know, I would be
Trying to find it for you.
I would love to hear this.
Trying to find it for you.
Hmm?
Uh, mm,
Mm-hmm.
nope, nope. No, I don't want it on YouTube. Or I mean, I do want it on YouTube. I don't want it on Facebook.
Uh-huh.
Ah,
What?
I'm trying to find the video not on. Oh, here we go. Boop. Here, podcast. There.
Oh, yeah, I've seen this. I mean,
That's 2 minutes and 16 seconds worth of it, bro.
okay, I get this, but you have to understand the other part of how testosterone works.
Sasquatch.
The other part of how testosterone works here. It's very simple. It removes brain cells, and what it does, it says, well, let me prove to all the other guys that I'm stronger than them, and what better way to do it than
I mean, in the Dragon Ball series, Saiyans would train themselves to not be subject to the tail being their weakness. So maybe these guys have something going on that's wrong.
they might, but hmm. Fun.
That's one word for it.
I don't know how we got on this. I really want to know.
You started it for some reason.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. And at this point, I'm too afraid to ask. Okay, so let's talk about Tuesday night.
Okay. Yes, we kind of also need to probably take this moment to do an editorial retraction, or not really a retraction, maybe a clarification. So it turns out we now have a fourth viewer.
We do?
Mm-hmm. Just found out about him about 4 hours ago.
Who on their, well, not in their right mind, obviously, but who?
Ducky.
Oh, I ain't scared of that.
Well, apparently she's not too happy with our conversation regarding Ducky, and so,
Can't please everyone.
I, yeah, I kind of figured that would be your response. Um, also, she's not really a full viewer because she says I caught some of the podcast.
Probably the part that you said, "Hey, don't show this to Ducky," and then Brokebutt probably showed it to Ducky
Possibly,
just because you said not to.
probably. That's fair. There we go. But yeah. So, like I said, not really a retraction, but maybe a clarification. And I'm going to use this as a momentary example, and then we're going to get off of it and we'll come back. But her complaint is that we said that she leads her character with a full backstory explanation, which is fairly accurate. So
yes,
we're kind of doubling. We're kind of doubling down on that, but
yeah, we are. So as soon as she started with her character description, I messaged Monkey and said, "I wonder how much of her backstory we're gonna get this time."
I know, because I had a quote unquote session -0 or something like that. I know 2 things that everyone else doesn't.
Yeah,
but that's it.
I just thought it was funny that Monkey didn't get my reference.
Well, he doesn't watch the podcast.
Well, no, I'm talking about. Well, he was in the campaign.
Oh.
When I said, "Do you happen to resemble a certain Kalish star?"
Oh. Well, she and I actually had a very productive conversation earlier today. I was trying to help her out with her voice for Kiala, and Ducky, I think, if she watches this, would understand that in my representation here that if you are playing a Leonin barbarian, perhaps speaking like this is not necessarily the best way to communicate that to the other members of the party or anyone else, because it's so soft-spoken and it's just like we had.
And what's wrong with being soft-spoken?
Well, there's nothing wrong with being a soft-spoken, but have you ever met? I mean, not that you ever would have in real life or anything, but like when you hear the words Leonin barbarian,
Speak softly and carry a big stick's all I gotta say.
Yeah, that's a paladin. You can be a soft-spoken paladin, but a barbarian, man.
Barbarian doesn't. I mean, Leoric's not boastful.
No, but
until he rages.
I'm not saying he's boastful and all. It's not about being boastful. It's just about being. Look, intelligence.
You haven't watched Critical Role ever, apparently.
I've watched
because
like 4 episodes
because their barbarian is probably the most soft-spoken person I've ever heard in my life. So and she's a Goliath. So
yeah, I've not watched Critical.
You seem to have some predisposition to certain characteristics from certain kinds of people, and that's just racist. Sir.
No, I have predispositions based on the generally agreed upon meaning of words in the English language.
Meanings of words change all the time.
Actually, I watched a video about that too recently. But in this regard, the meaning of the word still relates to brutish, violent, uncontrolled, because they rage.
Well, yeah, that has nothing to do with their voice.
I mean, does to a certain extent, because if you're raging, you're going to express that in some way. And even if you're not raging, if it's just like beneath the surface, like I just anything the fact that they're also, a lion, and lions roar. Terrible roar.
That was a terrible roar.
I was kind of going for like the Alex the Lion from Madagascar, despite the fact that I hate that movie. Those movies.
Yep,
Um,
that's a bunch of stupid movies. You are correct,
yeah,
sir.
but that's kind of like roar. Anyway, so but there, I mean, there's a certain expectation, and so I communicated that and let her figure out what she
And
wanted to do, and she's
there's
gonna,
a certain expectation from you.
and I, like I said, I communicated what I thought would do. I told her what I would do with a character like this, and then I let her make up her own mind. For the most part. I mean, she's still gonna do whatever she's gonna do anyway. So nothing we can do about that. Oh, we did have to laugh. Um, so earlier this week we watched Charlie Brown Christmas, Brokebutt and Ducky and I, and
Hmm.
when you start doing that, when you because it's a movie, it's a program that we've seen hundreds of times. Well, not hundreds of times, but enough times that we can pretty much quote the entire thing. Front to back.
Brokebutt's seen it hundreds of times.
We can pretty much quote the whole thing front to back. When you watch it, something like that again with people that you are friends with, um, this weird thing happens where you all start assigning characters to people that you know.
Yep,
Mm-hmm. So Brooke, but we decided is Snoopy.
obviously.
Okay. I am Linus.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Ducky vehemently disagrees that she is Lucy.
She is vehemently wrong,
I
so it's fine.
know. Like, like
If there was ever a person that was going to pull a football out from under you, she would be the one.
which works out really well because we said you were Charlie Brown. um, we thought that was
Yeah,
good.
well,
Mm-hmm.
she currently has a Meg complex, but that's fine.
We discovered also that Foxy is Peppermint Patty.
Oh God! I'll have to save that. I'll have to save that. Remind me that we are assigning people to roles when we get back to Star Wars.
Okay, let me find it. Let me write that down just in case I forget. Um, so Foxy is Peppermint Patty.
Actually, it's already written down in my notes.
Okay.
So when we go over it,
All right.
I've
Mumbles we had some difficulty with, um, but Monkey.
Mumbles is oh my goodness. Now you're making me look up peanut characters.
Monkey we said is Pigpen. Which seems to make a lot of sense to us. Still does.
No,
Have you? Okay.
no.
Monkey is like ridiculous.
Monkey's Woodstock.
Not Woods.
Monkey's Woodstock.
Explain.
I can't.
Hmm? Oh, Mumbles is Schroeder.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
But yeah, we said Monkey was Pigpen because, um, like Pigpen is the most vehemently positive character in the entire program. Nothing ever makes him upset, and I've never seen Monkey. Never seen any of
Okay.
Monkey's characters.
So I typed in peanut characters on Google, and it has all has the little pictures with the names of all the characters.
It looks exactly like what I'm looking at right now.
Kite eating tree is one of the characters.
This is true. Wait a second. I protest.
What?
So, on that same strip of characters, On the same one where kite eating tree is directly in the center, or I mean, which probably is that. Um, two to the left of kite eating tree is little red haired girl, right?
Frida.
Two to the left from kite eating tree is little red haired girl.
Oh, little redhead girl. It literally says little redhead girl.
Yeah. And if you go three to the right, it's Peggy Jean. The same girl. It's just that
It is.
Yeah.
You are correct.
Google, fix your stuff.
Yeah, Google has lots of errors.
And I'm just like, Google, fix your
Yeah,
stuff.
I once looked up list of old male actors,
Mm-hmm.
and like 60% of it was female actresses. So it's like
This does bring up an interesting question, since he's now part of like the Tuesday campaign.
Micro.
Is Micro Marcy?
I see. I don't know enough about the Peanuts to even suggest anything.
Well, Marcy is like the super smart one who's always trying to correct Peppermint Patty, but gets ignored. Now, I'm not saying that, Micro is trying to correct Foxy, but generally does a pretty good job of correcting the rest of us, and also gets ignored. Just something to think about,
All right. So
All right, we're talking about Dean. Let's talk.
so Tuesday, how do you think that went?
I think it went pretty well. I feel like a couple times I may have been running the table a little bit, which I apologize for. Um, Although it wasn't so much that I was running the table sometimes, it was more that my nose was the center of attention.
Wait, say that again?
I said, from the beginning or just the last part?
All of it.
Okay. I said on Tuesday, I felt like sometimes I was running the table, character wise, which I was apologizing for because I don't think that's right. I try to give proper time for everybody. Um, but in my defense, sometimes it felt as though it was not necessarily that I was running the table. It's just that my nose was the center of attention at the table.
It was hilarious.
I thought it was great.
It was. I started it and it just did not stop all night. It was great.
I was a little bit miffed because I think my best joke of the night got completely passed over.
Probably.
When Micro had his one-on-one with the DM. It says, her eyes turn blue, and I said, "Everyone, Simic, she's going to ink. I've seen this before." And
that wasn't really that funny.
it was much better in present delivery. Doing it the second time is never quite as good. But I thought it went pretty well. I did kind of really enjoy punking you out a little bit because you're like, just shoot him, and I'm like, wait a second, I'm gonna reload.
That was 2 Tuesday nights ago.
No, that was just Tuesday.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. Yeah. So I was like, I messaged Monkey and I said, I hope she whiffs and that I get the kill with the magic stone. Didn't end up happening. But yeah, I thought it was a fun character moment. I was like, hey, you take care of him. And you were like, sure, right on that. Taking an action to reload. I was like, I should have known you were useless coming with a lion. It was great.
Like, he's so easy to play. I love him so much. I still can't remember his name half the time, but that's okay. I don't have to. He probably doesn't remember his name half the time.
I can't think of his name right now.
Ellum.
Oh yeah, LMNO.
Mm-hmm.
Greatest name ever.
Oh, I love bringing back meme names. They're so good. Uh, like I am thoroughly enjoying it already, and we haven't done anything. And I like
We have done literally nothing.
I thought it
It's
was.
been great.
I had to laugh so hard. We go to the temples, and everyone starts being super serious. So they're gonna go talk to their date. God, and I'm like, hey, salty squid, how's it going?
Yeah, I was watching a YouTube video during
Yeah.
all that, so I heard none of it.
Oh, you should go back and rewatch that because I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, I anytime that I'm not there, I tune out so that I don't accidentally metagame.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm not good at that. I like to know what's going on, except for sometimes I just away, and that's just.
Oh, I definitely have that too.
I'm not trying to. I just don't care.
um, but yeah, Tuesday is gonna be fun. Now Friday is just now getting into the groove.
I still haven't seen.
Um,
Go ahead. I've heard good things.
really, you didn't watch it live?
Um.
What's wrong with you?
Well, I had a prayer meeting at my church, and then my pastor's like, "Hey, do you want to come over to my house and watch Mandalorian?" I'm like, "Absolutely, I do." That was a good decision.
Uh, Fine then. I guess we can't talk about that one.
Well, no, we can talk about it. I'm going to watch it, unless you want me to provide input on stuff that I haven't seen yet.
No, no input. It's just things didn't quite go as they didn't go anywhere near what I thought they were going to, and then they didn't go anywhere near what Mumbles thought they were going to. Um, it was mass chaos, is what it was, and I loved every second of it.
I hear Micro's now playing matches.
Yes, Micro has now joined the Friday game.
How does that go?
Well, it went terribly. We just met him. And everybody is super suspicious and almost got us killed. So,
Okay.
uh, the almost part is only because we stopped the session.
Oh, so you're saying that you're going to
So,
start the next session with a character?
rolling initiative. Yep,
Wait a second. Am I supposed to be there for that?
you are. Yes.
That's gonna be a problem. Actually, wait. You guys aren't actually having a session on Christmas Day, are you?
No,
Okay.
it'll be New Year's Day.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna make it to Christmas. Actually, you know what? I probably will make it to Christmas Day. Screw it.
Well, we're not doing one Christmas Day, so
Well, maybe y'all ain't, but I'm gonna. I'm gonna make myself like 9 characters. I'm gonna DM myself.
uh,
I'm gonna voice them all. Start like I'll sleep in. So start like 11, run until about 8 or 9 o'clock. We saved Christmas. God bless us, everyone.
oh my goodness. Okay, so I guess Sunday game.
Um.
Are you ready to play that tomorrow?
Yes, Master, I'm totally ready. Whatever you want me to do.
I just not sure what I'm gonna do for my voice for this one. I kind of want to do maybe like a Southern British thing, but it's I don't know.
A Southern British thing. That'll be it.
Yeah, like doing this, but talking like I don't know. It's
You
perplexing.
do you perhaps nope, that's going straight into it's now. Um, do you perhaps mean talking like someone who may be of a high class, perhaps in the South, someone who once upon a time may have owned large,
Lived in Georgia.
may have lived in Georgia, may have owned large buildings with towering columns and gigantic fields, um, that were called things that we cannot say on the internet anymore.
Oh my goodness. Um, just gonna pretend that did not happen.
I probably should too, but I kind of want to run it down. So, I got issues. I got problems. Like,
Um,
I-
oh no, I can't think of.
you were talking about your voice for Sunday.
Yeah,
More
I really don't know what I want to do. If it's because I don't want it to be too similar to one that I'm already using. So straight up country is out because that's Leoric.
right?
I can't use my announcer voice because that's my Monday night character, which is just basically me being verbose.
So
Well, it's not
Monday.
basically, it is just me being verbose.
So Monday is Masters does a Gavi impression.
Well, I talk like this right here most of the time.
Oh yeah, Masters does a Gavi impression. Okay.
Okay then. Hey guys, do you think we should go over here? Is this where we're going?
Coming to you live on Monday,
Coming-
Monday.
Monday, coming at you live from the Underdark.
Maybe you should try New York. Oh, no, it's like a New York accent or something, eh?
I kind of thought about doing a I don't know, it feels wrong to do like a Hispanic gang member voice, which I did once in the one of the characters in Sunday's old campaign. I it came out early on. I think that was before you even started.
Probably.
Um and yeah, he was, man, just trying to keep it real, doing what I can. It's not good, man, but it is what it is. And actually, when you guys got back to the Solarium, he was going to be there.
Does that work with your oh man, I can't even say that because that's going to get me in trouble. Like talk about getting canceled. We get banned off the whole internet if I say that. Finish that sentence. Woo. Glad I thought that.
I want to know what you're going to say now.
I'll type it to you.
Because if it's so bad that you don't want to say it, ugh. Because you've said some stuff, bro. My goodness.
There you go.
So I mean, I could I mean, that's just disrespectful.
I know. That's why I didn't say it. There are some occasions where my brain does catch up with my mouth.
Rare occasions, man. Rare.
That was one of them. The next one will be sometime next year, I'm sure.
I mean, I could do this voice right here, but it requires me to tug on my whiskers.
Isn't that the little gnome or whatever it was that Rezo almost...
He was the No, he was a barbarian.
Okay.
In a one shot that I did.
Okay, because
technically it's droopy, but
I love that moment where you're facing the artificer or whatever he was, and Rezo successfully failed at punching through the door. Or knocking down the door. I made a strength check and punched straight through it, but caused no other damage to the door. Oh, that was so fun.
Let's see. Just in case somebody doesn't know who Droopy is.
I don't know if I can do his voice, but I know who Droopy is.
Of course you do, because you're the same age as me.
Mm-hmm. I should go back and look at and watch some of those Hanna-Barbera cartoons, because there's some good voices and stuff in there. Hey, Fred.
Oh, hey, boo boo. Wanna go catch a picnic basket?
But Yogi, what about the ranger?
Oh, don't worry about the ranger. I'll take care of him.
Arrived with food. It's not the ring.
But yes, I can totally do this voice.
Please don't.
But why? Does it not work with you very well?
I say the Yogi Bear.
That went into somebody else.
The Yogi Bear.
Who was that? Huh?
The Yogi Bear one actually does kind of work.
For me to just talk like this?
Yeah.
Would this work for you?
Works for me.
It works for
Hey,
me
you
too, master.
Barkum. Hey, you Barkum. Would you make sure to rough this fella up real good?
Can I eat his toesies first?
Eat any part of you want.
Ooh,
We're gonna kill him anyways.
I'll take the thumbs too, then.
Just make sure you don't eat the metal bits. You know what happened last time.
Well, that's actually a thing that me and Micro have been talking about, because apparently both of our characters will just try and eat everything.
Yeah.
So there's a show called The Orville, and there's a character on there called Bortus, and he comes from a species that can eat just about anything. And so we are talking about doing a side thing where we both try and out eat the other one with weird stuff.
Great.
So,
Just what I wanted in this campaign.
So your pet bugbear's gonna get food poisoning real quick. Because he's not smart enough to realize that the slime doesn't actually have to have a stomach.
Oh my goodness.
That's fun.
Well, now that we figured out my voice for tomorrow night,
I'm so glad I could help you. This is since Mumble started doing any kind of DMing at all, I've had actually since before then, since Mumble's created Oscar version 1.0, the Dragonborn.
Yeah.
I've had about one call a week with someone saying, "Hey, can you help me figure out this voice?" And I'm like, I'm not really a voice coach, but okay, sure, let's. Oh.
hey, I'm a good voice coach for anything other than woman. Unless you want smoker lady.
Come here, darling. I'll help you out.
Oh no, it's Roz.
Wazowski, you didn't turn in your paperwork last night.
I couldn't do it if I tried.
I did it once upon a time. Well, I was trying to teach Kuya how to do it.
Kuya can't sing. You think he can voice act?
Well, we were trying to get him to do both.
Oh, yes, I know the song you wanted him to do.
Well, he's just like, in a room with a view. And I'm like, no. Stop.
In a room with a view.
In a room with a view. And if I were handsome, because those dreams do come true, I wouldn't have.
Yeah, you don't sound anything like Mike Wazowski right now.
I know, but I was kind of liking it. I was going to run with it.
You sounded like almost.
Have nothing if I didn't have you.
My good, I can't think of who it is you sound like. He's a shorter guy, like on the scale of
Oh, so
my goodness, the guy I try to shoehorn into every movie. I can't even think of his name right
Danny
now.
DeVito?
Yeah, he's about the same height as Danny DeVito. Can't think of what his name is though.
Oh.
I'm thinking of like characters. I have definitely seen characters who have a very squeaky voice like that. But and they're always like really, really tiny, diminutive things.
Yeah.
But they
And
also talk slow.
I'm thinking it might even be a cartoon character that I'm thinking of.
They go up and they're like,
Yes. I'm so happy. Thank you for inviting me.
they're always like super polite, and then they do something just absolutely.
Yeah, and then they've always got that really, really, really tall guy where they barely come up to his kneecaps right behind them.
Mm-hmm.
Get him, Mike.
This is my associate, Mr. Stones. They call him
How
Mr.
you doing?
They call him Stones because, you see, his hands, they're like stones. And he breaks things with his stones.
So now you're a mafia member with a lisp.
I don't know where the lisp. I don't know how to get rid of the lisp piece. I don't know how to get rid of it either, but I'm not sure where it came from. But it was working, so I was just running with it.
Oh, Gavi, you should know better than to run.
Especially right now, I'm still in pain. Ever play volleyball with teenagers? It's dangerous.
Oh my goodness! Last time I played volleyball with teenagers, they took out my knee.
They almost took out my whole like. I have not walked right since August. Like
my cousin literally used my knee as a stepladder.
Yeah, that's
to get up and hit a ball,
Mm.
and it popped it out of place.
I mean, this is a perfect real world application for. I would like to make an athletics check.
Like, yeah, that was the moment I realized I'm too old for this crap. My father didn't have his until I was a teenager. He still goes and plays volleyball with them.
That's some people just have a special bond in that regard, and there's just probably a good thing actually that everything got shut down this year, because I only had one situation this year where I had to play volleyball with teenagers, and I had to go to camp this year. That have been, I'd have probably ended it this year with a lot more, which is saying something, because I have been consistently injured in some capacity since February. Not good. I'm getting old, man.
Yep, we are. Person is younger than me.
Not by much. Little. Just a little bit. You could be a fun one too. I don't think Pixel knows what he's getting himself into. I mean, he knows Micro well. He knows Poppy pretty well. I don't know how well he knows Friendly. I know Friendly pretty well.
I mean, they were in a campaign together all year.
Okay. Well, I mean, yes, but there is being in a campaign, and then there's having to manage the people who are in that campaign. That's not the same.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. No comment. We could say the same thing for Mumbles, though.
I'm so happy that I broke you, Masters.
Broke me?
Oh yes. I think that's the proper terminology. Like, you were so enthusiastic about D, dropped almost off the face of them. Play D&D. DM, you want this, you want that. Then with just a couple of odd rolls and
No, it was definitely not you that broke me. You did, because you were in one of my games. You definitely contributed. You were in both of my games, actually. But you did not break me. Being a DM broke me. Because being a DM sucks.
Ish. So I enjoyed my time DMing. I did. I just was not prepared to put in the effort to do it well, and I personally enjoyed the killing the entire party way. I was much less.
Oh, that reminds me. I saw a meme today, and it said some DMs, and it's got two comic panels, and one says, uh, um, "I have this idea," and it's got the DM there, and it's go, "Oh, cool, let's work on that together." And then the next one it says other DMs, and it says, "I'm going to enjoy destroying you all." It's like, who does this remind me of, other than me?
Mm-hmm.
I almost sent it to you.
But you did.
I was feeling lazy. Okay, I think we've put it off long enough.
I don't.
Let's go. Let's go ahead and have it.
Oh. But I mean, no. Um. Know where to start, Masters? Don't even know where to start. Start at the end and work.
Me either.
Do you want to start at the end and work our way back?
No, you start at the beginning. Come on now.
By the way, did you credit scene?
Yes, I did.
I'm just making sure, because otherwise I was gonna have a lot. Oh. So, enter the darkness of space. The Slave One pursues a lone Imperial shuttle. Is that too far into the beginning?
No,
Okay.
I mean you could have started episode 1, so you missed that opportunity.
A lone blue alien walks into a bar. Music plays. Do 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 do.
Oh my goodness, I love his theme song so much. I'm gonna miss it.
Oh, I'll have to send it to you. I saw. Actually, no, I'm gonna put it in the chat. I saw someone sent me a YouTube video of someone who did their Christmas lights in time with a song. It is amazing. It's just unbelievable. It is just beautiful.
So, how does it feel to have all of your? Let's start with this. How does it feel to have all of your assumptions about what was going to happen this season just blown out of the water?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Because you kept saying they were going to drag it out. They didn't drag nothing out.
No, they just went right for it, which tells you like exact. I mean, we are now at the point where we know mostly ish kind of what's going to happen next season. And they're going to focus a lot on Mandalore, but no, because they could focus on Boba Fett.
They're going to focus on Boba Fett.
Are they?
Yes, it said at the end the Boba book or whatever it is.
The book of Boba Fett, yeah. But
yeah,
wasn't that already a series announced?
No, that is not a new series. That is the next season.
Oh, so what they're doing is they're transitioning the main character from Din Djarin to Boba Fett. That a safe way to interpret that.
Say that again?
Okay. They are transitioning the main character from Din Djarin to Boba Fett.
Correct. That is what they are doing.
Okay.
Yes. I am positive.
Oh. Okay, let's look this up. No, the Book of Boba Fett is different. Wait, no. Okay, this is still all speculation. Disney, just clarify. Like, seriously, just clarify.
They will clarify December 2021.
Damn, can't say that. Darn it. I want to know more. I just want to know, are we getting 2 series in December next year, or are we only getting 1?
Okay. I'm sending this to you and only you. No, don't blob it.
404.
Nope,
That's
that
an
doesn't
error.
work.
Not kidding.
Yeah. Dadgummit, I will.
One good thing that came. Potentially good thing that
What? Why?
like the
Why is this being difficult?
the list of messed up gifts in this chat is for those who can't see it, it never will. Also, I hate you.
See here. Huh?
Because the video you sent me yesterday.
Uh-huh.
I hate you.
The accurate one?
Yep. I mean, it's probably no worse than the deer that I sent you. Still hurts.
There. My mother just sent me this picture. She says that she needs a good picture of me. I think that one works great.
I assume by good pictures, she one where you don't look like a homeless person.
No, she just means one where it was actually a picture that was actually taken and not a selfie.
Gotcha. I mean,
And she also did not use the most recent picture that I've sent her either. Whoever did this.
Like, do you just randomly?
Because my beard is a lot longer than that now.
Did you just randomly take pictures of yourself and send?
Yes, I do sometimes. Yes.
I'm still alive. You should send her that picture from Disney where your entire face looks like it's been digitally blacked out.
She has that one too.
Just say this is the best picture I've taken recently. Deal with it.
I should send it. The one that I put into the far reaches player only. You can't see that one, can you? No, you can't see it. No, not that one. Copy link.
I can't. Weird.
Have you seen this picture yet?
I'm a player in far reaches, darn it.
Have you seen that picture yet?
I have not seen that picture yet. What's wrong with your forehead? You look like a Klingon, and you don't have makeup on to look like a Klingon.
It's just the reflection, okay?
No, it looks like you have growths on your forehead.
It's wrinkles. I'm old.
That's not wrinkles, man. That's like bony mass underneath the skin.
Anyways, I should send her that picture and say better.
Okay, sure.
Oh. Okay, back to Star Wars.
Um. Anyway, for a moment. Um.
So
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Star Wars. Star Wars. Star Wars. So, and like, I don't even know how to react to it. Like, and I've seen it twice, and I'm like, man, ah.
So good, right?
Like, my pastor's a lot more of a reactive person than I am, and so I'm just like sitting there quietly on his couch, like, freaking out on the inside, petting his dog, eating popcorn, and he's like, "I'm so happy!" Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, simmer down. Like okay, so for those of you who have not yet seen the latest episode of The Mandalorian, now would be a fantastic time for you to bugger off, because we're gonna spoil the crap out of this thing. Screw you. That's subtle enough, I think.
Subtle's not your strong suit.
No, you're right. Anyway, we're watching the scene where, like, beautiful, great, everything.
Beautiful,
There's really
dangerous, powerful. Ice as a measure can't be controlled.
There's really only one thing that matters in this. Let's be honest. There's really only one thing and it's the thing that makes talking about any other part of the episode difficult, because you can't get past the elephant in the room, which is that Luke Skywalker's back. Again.
Way to just jump right in.
I know. Like, I'm like, yeah, I could talk about the assault on the cruiser.
My favorite scene, hands down, was Boba Fett getting his butt handed to him.
I disagree. Like, I had some difficulty. It was so easily passed over by the fact that Luke Skywalker was back that I was like, good.
And I told you Skywalker was going to be in it, and you were like, no, they won't do that.
I mean, so he shows up, and I'm like, oh, it's an X-Wing. Is that Luke Skywalker? That's not Luke Skywalker. There's no way on earth they would do Luke Skywalker. We'd have heard something that somebody's playing him, or, Sebastian Stan. We were talking about that last week. And I'm like, it's going to be this person or that person. So I'm like, and then they come through and they're not showing his face. I'm like, the green lightsaber, okay. Well, okay, so it's not Mace Windu. It's not this person. It's not Ahsoka. We know that. They're introducing somebody new. It can't be Kanan, because Kanan's dead. Is this Ezra? Would he make a new lightsaber? Because you can't really see his lightsaber either while he's on the video and stuff. And then, like, they show the picture of his gloved hand, like, oh, these people, look at these cheeky guys. They're just trying to make you think it's Luke Skywalker. I'm too smart for you, Disney. Oh, it is Luke Skywalker. Oh. I did not believe it until he took his thing off, because I'm like, there's no way. Like, there's no way on earth that's Luke Skywalker. And then it's like, wait a second. That's so there's a little bit of uncanny valley going on with his face because the de-aging.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Well, also the lips didn't move quite right as he was talking.
That's what's called
No.
It's one of the things that lends to it, because it's not your mind knows what a human does, and it goes, that's not what a human does. And it tells you. But I mean, considering how much they spent on all the rest of their CG for the whole rest of the thing, like, yeah, okay, I will pass that over. I will give him a full pass on Luke's lips not moving properly. Full pass. And it is actually Mark Hamill.
Is it?
It is actually Mark Hamill.
That's cool.
It's even his voice.
Did you see his tweet yesterday? Yesterday.
So Mark Hamill tweets all day long. He's interacting with
does.
fans. He's doing this. Yesterday, he sent out one tweet.
See anything good on TV
lately?
See, so cheeky.
And I'm like, you troll. You know exactly what you're doing. You planned this out with your publicist, didn't you? Oh. It was so good. It made me unreasonable. And then he didn't respond to anybody all day long, and people were freaking out at him. um. Oh man, it's just good. Uh and they even did like a callback to the Rogue One hallway scene when
Yes,
he's
they
right
did.
at the time, and I'm like, oh, that's so good too. I like it. Yes. But like as he's going through, I'm like, this. So my I know I made the joke to Broke, but I legitimately thought they were going to have it be Kylo Ren, because we at that point, as far as I could tell, they had not given us a firm timeline as to what this was taking place in. I'm like, okay, well maybe he's
They
like,
had though. They have said that it takes place right after
okay.
the events of.
So you and I are paying attention to different things. You're paying attention to the press releases. I'm paying attention to what is being shown to me on screen. And so I'm watching it, and I'm like, I probably should have picked that up from the when they took over the Imperial shuttle, because the guy's like, I saw Elderon blow up, and like, this guy is young. Like,
Yeah.
like, man, were you in a training course somewhere at the age of 12? Because you are now 14. So, um, it was a little rough. But and then Car Dude just blasts him in the murder. um.
Oh, how about that line though? I saw. I was on the Death Star when Alderaan blew. It's like, which one? Yeah. Oh, they were great. There was a lot of great moments in that episode.
And good moments on both sides, really. Because even like
Mhm.
in that same scene, the guy's like, he acknowledges, hey, you guys killed like hundreds of millions of people.
Yeah.
like
It's like, and
hundreds,
we're the bad
like
guys.
hundreds of millions of people. Like, those were engineers. Those weren't even the soldiers. They had families, man. I'm like, okay,
Oh,
I see your humanity and tip my hat to you, sir. I was right the whole time. And yeah.
so let's see here. I'm just going through my notes. So yeah, I loved watching Boba Fett get the crap beat out of him. Kind of sad that they stopped that.
I really wish that he. I don't think, from an objective point of view, I don't think she beat him. I think that they.
Not if it had kept going, probably not. But
Like,
she gave him a run for his money in
I-
that short little span.
I'm also not a big fan of of kind of a trope that's kind of coming up now with Mandalorian armor, where they do. I mean, it goes all the way back to Return of the Jedi, where they do the little binding cord, and they just stand there and take it. Number one, and then there's kind of this tug of war kind of thing. Like, I don't know if anyone else has noticed it, but Tamura Morrison has put on some weight, and she just like stops him cold with her outstretched arm with zero leverage as he's trying to pull her down. And I'm like, no. Like, this guy's pushing 260. You might be 140 in full armor. There's no way you're resisting the pull of his cord on you. But I will let that go because Luke Skywalker was awesome.
You got your answer to the gun blaster thing. They do in fact jam, apparently.
Yes, but this opens up a new can of worms
I knew it would.
because
I knew you wouldn't be satisfied, but okay.
So, I mean, for point of reference, not that anything which may or may not be about to be heard should be taken as any sort of indication of things which may or may not be in the possession of any who may or may not be part of the podcast. But jamming now creates a new issue for Star Wars because if you jam, there's a bit of a problem here because it's a blaster rifle.
Uh-huh.
What is the mechanical portion of the blaster rifle which is jamming?
Well, the way that her gun specifically looked, not necessarily the one that Mando had that broke down, but hers looked like it had the round barrel loaders. So they seem to be firing some sort of projectile weapon that just gets heated up to a plasma-like state.
Okay, before people who listen to podcasts who have any level of before masters
Mhm.
the round rifle loaders are
Yep.
called magazines.
Sure.
Oh. Ah! Wow. Okay. Get through this, Gavi. Magazines are what hold the things that, or holds the stuff that comes out the barrel, whether that's bullets.
Yes, I understand
or
what a
other
magazine
things.
is.
Yes, okay. Or whether it's apparently some sort of plasma charge. Now, in Star Wars canon, there's a lot of basis for it being a plasma charge. It's talk about Tabana gas, which is my city on spin, and it's somehow superheated and electromagnetically accelerated out the barrel. So you have a blaster-like function. So, but that doesn't explain the mechanical jam. Now there is clearly a charging handle on her weapon, and which is like and the way that she cleared the jam is precisely how you clear a jam on any AK variant or a couple of M4s, things like that, which are but like if it's jammed, you just kind of whack the bottom really hard on the ground holding onto the charging handle until it makes the appropriate sound, and then you're good to go, rock and roll. Sound maybe coming back a couple. It's kind of fun. Anyway, that notwithstanding, she so like clearly there's something that can get jammed. How that clears the jam, what gets unjammed, that's now unclear. And because we know that they do jam, this now creates an issue. Also, I did it so I'm kind of a gun guy in case that wasn't obvious. But with that being the case, and me being a gun guy, it's a bit of an issue where I notice the real world guns that the fake world guns are based on, or reskinned, as it were. And so I haven't quite gotten a good enough look at her weapon to be able to figure it out, but like there's some other stuff that was in this particular episode where it's like, okay, yeah, this is what this is, and this is what this is, and this is what it is, and it's kind of fun for me to be like, oh, well, that's where they got.
Yeah, you have weird hobbies. We know.
I know, clearly. But that notwithstanding, yeah, I'm very curious as to what is the mechanical function which is being jammed, can be jammed. Master right. What makes sense to me in some regard is that because they're using Tabana gas, which is, by my understanding of it from Legends lore, corrosive as all get out. Perhaps there is some sort of a gunky buildup on the inside that can, mess with some sort of internal valve or something.
Electromagnet.
No, the electromagnets are static. They don't.
Well, yes, but I'm more referring to some sort of piston that would move with the electromagnet that actually starts the pushing of the uh,
I'm thinking
plasma bolt.
I'm thinking it's more of a gasket that releases a preset amount of gas into like some sort of a charging chamber, which then supercharges that gas and gives it either a positive or a negative charge, which is then picked up on by the electromagnets in the barrel and accelerates it through, sending that charge down the barrel and firing it out the end. That makes some level of sense to me. Not that I'm any physicist would try and understand this, but in terms of the little bit that I do know, that makes sense to me. But so like perhaps there's the gas being very corrosive. Perhaps it gummed up the gasket somehow, and the the ability to cycle something would like open the gasket forcibly manually and then clear that gunking up. But that would tend to tell me, number one, that Cara Dune does not properly maintain her weapon because they weren't there that long and they weren't shooting it that long. I would assume that in a futuristic technology setting like Star Wars is, that they would have figured out how to make guns run somewhat cleaner, even in that sort of situation, which seems a little bit unlikely. Or it's just one of those things where it's like, man, I want to know more, and I
Clearly,
like. So not only do I want to know more, this was actually something that was brought out to me last night after we finished, because my pastor's daughter is also very, very enthusiastic about Star Wars, and she was with us and pointed out something to me I had missed, and then I went back like, oh yeah, she's totally right. In one thing, but like we have learned more about the broad Star Wars universe in Mandalorian than we have 40 years of Star Wars. 2 years, and we've learned. I mean, technically, just barely a year, we've learned more about the Star Wars universe through the Mandalorian than we have in 40 years of Star Wars. That says a lot about the level of detail that they're going into for the amazing. I'm really enjoying it. But like, we're starting to figure out stuff like, hey, how do you go to the bathroom in space? We now know that answer. Like, we didn't really necessarily need to know that answer, but we now have that answer. So perhaps it is just a matter of time before they actually, like, I want to see Cara Dune go back to Navarro and be the marshal there, and like the next time Mando comes in and she's got her reciprocating blaster field stripped and she's cleaning out the gasket or whatever, so we go, oh, that's the part that jams, and that's something that is totally legitimate that might happen in this program, because people do stuff.
if we ever see those characters again.
I think we will, although
I mean, you've been wrong about everything, so you just
I haven't been wrong about
Go ahead
everything. I've been wrong about a lot of things, but I haven't been wrong about everything. I am, and I don't think we're done with Din Djarin, which tells me that we're probably not done with Cara Dune, which I'm hoping means we're not done with Mayfield either. I have watched a bunch of Bill Burr stuff before. Not people, kind of a very coarse comic, but I had never heard that he has like a private beef with Star Wars. Years he's been ragging on Star Wars fans about how basically it's just some sort of weird infantile adult escapism with Muppets. And I mean, he's not wrong.
why is he dissing the Muppets? That's my question. I'm more offended by that.
Like, he's not wrong with his estimation. I mean, technically, Star Wars is a Jim Henson production. Masters is now seeing about this. Either that, or I bumped my microphone cord again and I can't hear him. One of those two. Find out. We'll see if the lights up. Anyway, so I think we're gonna see more of Din Djarin because like now that he's taken his mask off, quickly, which okay, if I was going to have one major nitpick about this episode, that is it. Not that he took it off, but that like he took it off, and all the people who should be freaking out about him taking it off weren't freaking out that he took it off. And yeah, I know there's a guy standing in the door with a glowing green laser sword.
Why would they be freaking out about it? They've been trying to get him to take it off since day one.
I know. That's why. This is the way.
That's not a reason why.
They finally saw his face.
And?
Well, at least for Cara Dune, that should be kind of a big deal. Because I mean, on more than one occasion, she's like, "Why don't you just take that thing off?" And like in the last, in episode 7, it's kind of a big deal. That's there's a reason it's a big deal. This is the reason, and nobody like bats an eye at it. I can understand like Fennec Shand not really caring. I can almost understand the other Mandalorians being there and not really thinking it's that big a deal because they do it all the time. But considering the fact that he is part of the Death Watch, like they'd be like, oh, okay, maybe he's coming around. Maybe he's not going to be this weird religious zealot kind of doing weird stuff. Although, one of his best lines from the first season was, "Weapons are part of my religion." That still just makes me happy.
Yeah, so maybe what you want is the YouTube reaction section of Star Wars.
I've already seen it.
Go watch that, and then you can get your giggles.
But no, I just
reacting to him taking off his helmet.
All I want is Cara Dune to come up and say, "I didn't see," or if you didn't want me to, I didn't see it. Like that's all I need. That's all I want.
You want very weird, specific things. Got it.
No, that's not weird or specific. Like, because the thing for him is, if he takes it off, he can never put it back on again. That's from season 1. Like that's his belief. That and taking it off in the presence.
Obviously, his belief has changed.
I understand, but I still want some level of acknowledgement of that beyond just him taking it off. Because if he doesn't actually change his beliefs and he just puts it back on and never takes it back off again, then he's a hypocrite. And I don't want to root for a hypocrite. I want someone who actually realizes the importance of what he's done and then carries through on it. Or you can go the other way on this.
We'll probably never see him again.
Or you can go the other way on this and he goes, "Okay, I took it off now. I'm no longer a Mandalorian." And he gives his armor up. Does something else.
Technically, he's not a Mandalorian.
No, he is a Mandalorian.
He's
a
foundling.
Which is a Mandalorian. Does he hail from Mandalore? No. Does he follow the way? Counts. If Jango Fett counts as a Mandalorian, he counts as a Mandalorian. Jango was a foundling.
But they specifically said you don't deserve that armor.
Because
you're not a Mandalorian.
He's a clone.
You're a clone.
Jango was not a clone. They even said, not your father, but your donor. Your DNA donor. It wasn't saying, like, yeah. They knew those words were chosen very carefully. They knew exactly what they were doing. Remember, Boba is
What do you
not...
think about the Dark Troopers?
I wish we'd gotten... I mean, I thought it was great. Absolutely fantastic. When the one breaks out and just starts punching him straight in the face over and over and over again, and the only thing that's happening is he's like slowly driving him into the wall behind him. I thought that was amazing. I thought they were a little bit inconsistent because they close the blast doors at the end and they're like they're coming through, and apparently it's not taking them that long to do it, coming through the blast doors. It was taking them a whole lot longer to get through that glass inside the cold storage area than it was taking them to get through the blast doors. So that was a little bit inconsistent for me. But aside from that, I thought they were pretty cool.
I thought it was a poor life decision to stick an airlock in their holding cell.
I mean, it's not like that holding cell was designed for them. It was a cargo area that was redesigned to house the Dark Trooper.
I'm just saying, in the redesign, they should have thought to, close that up.
Well, it works out really well. They may have intentionally not done that because it works very well as quick deployal. I mean, they weren't intending to deploy them that quickly. But it can work very well as a quick deployment option to just open the door that way. We'll get them. I did think that they were perhaps a little bit. I'm curious as to how fast the cruiser was going, because they caught up using just their jet boots or whatever. That's kind of like how fast is this cruiser going? Because those aren't very big thrusters they got, and I understand they're not pushing as much, but the way that we have seen things to work in Star Wars, it seems like the bigger the ship is, the faster it is able to move, because it just has more mass and gains momentum and things like that. This is not necessarily that at all. Yeah, I'm sure they'd be very agile, but I wouldn't necessarily say that they'd be fast enough to cruiser. But yeah, I'm not really broken up about it. Clearly, they had to come back just for narrative purposes. I think is going to be interesting is when we see more of them. These clearly were not the only. Knowing Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, they were introduced here in The Mandalorian, assuming that your supposition is correct, and that they are now going to transition the main character from Din Djarin to Boba Fett. It makes sense that these will come back in Ahsoka, and they'll come back in a number of other things. This does make me question, though, because last week we got the name drop for a series called The Acolyte, and everyone was speculating that The Acolyte was going to be the story of Darth Sidious being trained by Darth Plagueis. Now that's in question, because that could just be the story of Grogu going on.
You're right. It could be. It would be a very uninteresting story, in my opinion, but
I mean, remember, it is still currently controlled by Disney, and Disney likes money. And right now, there are very few things which are immediately more profitable than Grogu. It's cute. Trying to convince. I mean, I am 100% on board with the idea that we need to have a properly Sith-centric series. But it's a possibility that the act. In fact, we could all be wrong, and it'll be something completely different. It could be the story of Ezra Bridger.
It could be.
And that might actually be an even better idea than either one, because
I think that that's what Ahsoka is going to focus on, though,
probably
is finding him.
Well, we know that she's focused on Thrawn. Question of whether or not it's a question of whether or not Ezra made it through hyperspace. Apparently, Thrawn did. And I did hear a bunch. I have seen that that my recommendation for Thrawn is pretty much the same as everybody else's. Kind of annoys me because I like to be special over here, but I don't think that there's any way on earth that they're going to Benedict Cumberbatch to play him. So I am going to change my idea and forget what his first name is, but his last name is Mikkelsen, not Mads Mikkelsen, something. And he actually did the voice for him in animated series, and he looks pretty close. Just straight up. Let me find it here. I can find him here amongst all these folks. Hiddleston. Okay, let's not do that. Great, but he's no Thrawn. No, you can't do. There we go, Lars Mikkelsen. You could find it here. And these people need to really work on their photo manipulation. This looks terrible. This one's better. Like I would be totally okay if they were to bring Admiral on Grand Admiral.
Oh,
Yes.
question. Didn't Ahsoka have the black saber at some point?
Did.
Precisely. Who defeated her to take it? Is my next question.
Now that's a great question. And actually, the whole defeating thing, kinda gotta call bullcrap on that. Because even leaving that out, Sabine Wren was in possession of the Darksaber, and she gave it to Bo-Katan. Like, handed it to her in Rebels.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Thank you. I appreciate it." Darksaber. Like, they did not fight over it.
Mm-hmm.
Problems. Major problems.
That was what I was thinking the whole time that Grand Moff Tarkin was talking about it. I was like, but if
You mean-
that's the case, what about this and this and this?
Moff Gideon, Grand Moff Tarkin died on the first Death Star.
Oh, you mean what I know?
That's why I'm here. I'm keeping the story. I find this really cool. It was not marked. I haven't seen it come up in the credits for The Mandalorian, but it is in the credits for 7, 8, and 9, where there is a person on staff who is marked as the keeper of the holocron, who is supposed to help keep the movie makers on, like, in canon without, like, dramatically diverging. And I'm like, man, was this guy asleep during 8 and 9? Like, wow, was he asleep during 8 and 9? But aside from that, but he's marked on there, like in the credits, it comes up as the keeper of the holocron. It's just hilarious to me. So that's my function right now. I'm being the keeper of the holocron. Yeah. Because Ahsoka defeated Vizsla to get it, and then somehow or another Darth Maul got it. Not entirely. I have to rewatch Clone Wars to remember how that happened. But Sabine ends up getting it, and then she just kind of gives it to Bo-Katan.
Yeah.
And just, like, hands it over.
And then somehow Moff Gideon gets it.
Yeah. He sounds. I can't. Yeah, like. Like there's even a yeah, Dark Saber, Planet Man first. Purge. Find it here. Eventually, Maul was defeated, but he kept possession of the dark saber until he was discovered. The blade was taken by Sabine Wren, a descendant of the Vista clan. Sabine gave the blade to Bo-Katan so that she could use it to unite the Mandalorians in an attempt to take Mandalore back from the Empire. Yeah, this is bullcrap. There is no ritual. Dave Filoni, I am disappointed. Dare you. I have visual proof.
Well, written proof.
I also have visual.
I guess technically visual.
Image. Although, if they do continue with Din Djarin, this makes a lot of sense as to, like, this is my supposition as to what they're going to do with his story. Because eventually, according to new canon, apparently, he and Bo-Katan are going to have a dust up at some point, and that'll be interesting. Yeah. Very fun. Very into. Don't know how Elmer Fudd, but okay. Yeah.
Okay. Any more thoughts?
Oh, so many thoughts. So many thoughts. I'm having trouble keeping them all straight because it's just so cool. Like, and no matter what happens, whether Din Djarin takes over or whether Boba Fett takes over, or we never see either one of them ever again, the ending just picture of him and Fennec Shand sitting on Jabba's throne was beautiful. That might be the best thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm like, yes. It's so good. It just made me, that just made me unreasonably happy, and like they're both just cocky and confident, and like they walk in and Bib Fortuna's up there, and like there's even like a weird, even a weird reference like when they go in there, like the whole thing is a reference. Like they walk in and it's clearly referencing Princess Leia's arrival at Jabba's palace, in Jabba's palace. And like they hear the bang bang, you know, and then the guy goes flying down the stairs, and another guy goes up. They shoot him too, and they walk in, and Bib Fortuna is sitting on the throne, and I mean, gained some weight, and you know they just kind of shoot everybody, yada yada yada, but like when he goes to send the second guy up to see what happened to the first guy, he says McClunky, which is a weird George Lucas addition to the Disney Plus version of Episode 4, when they're in the Mos Eisley Cantina. Greedo first, Han shot first, and that shall always be proper canon. I don't care what anyone, including George Lucas, says. Han shot first. Dadgummit. Anyway, after that, I should just make that a regular soundbite. Then I don't want to emphasize something. I just go for it. Hating me. Anyway, so they go in there, and he said, so first, Han shot first. They decided to do a revision on that so that Greedo shoots first, and everyone didn't like that, so they made it so that they both shoot at the same time. So, you know, it looks like self-defense. Clearly wasn't, still. And then when they imported it onto Disney Plus, George Lucas is like, hey, let's have Greedo say McClunky. And we're all like, what is McClunky? We don't like. I am one of those weird people. I have the Star Wars intergalactic travels guide and like useful phrases book. I forget what the exact name of it is. I have it somewhere. And in it there is Huttese, which is what Greedo speaks to Han there. McClunky was not in there. Like it's just not there. And I'm like, what? We're all like, what are you trying to say? Why? What are you doing? And then of course Dave Filoni's like, you know what? Let's just make it more canon. So and then he has Bib Fortuna say it. So I guess we can kind of infer that it basically means something to the effect of "go for it," kinda. Because I mean that's the only thing that would really apply in both situations. Greedo's sitting there, he's facing down Han Solo. Hey, Han Solo says, "Over my dead body." That's the general idea. McClunky, go for it. Okay, bang. Hey, there's guys coming in here. You should go see what's happening. Try and stop them. McClunky, go for it. Bang. Well, that didn't work out real well for you either. But I guess that could be kind of what it means. Maybe, possibly, generally. I don't know. I'm probably reading into this way too far.
Yep.
But I'm a nerd. It's what I do. Too much. Yeah. So that's like, but I noticed those little things and I really enjoy them. Man, I just like it was just good and I was really enjoyable. The lights, the Darksaber versus staff fight was pretty good. Like it wasn't anything stupid. There was a couple points where it's like, man, I don't know why he would do that. And then it's like, okay, well clearly this is choreographed because the thing that he did there makes sense with what happened. But if you didn't know that that was exactly the thing that's going to happen, it'd be like, okay, well, why would you have done that in the first place? But I mean, it flowed well. It looked good. Like I said, there's just some weird movements and stuff that they worked with what happened. But why would you ever think that would be the thing that was going to happen? I don't understand. But it was really cool. It worked well.
That obviously was the thing that happened. It was on camera.
Well, I mean, yes, but if it were a real fight, as it were, and not just between two actors who are trying to make it look good on screen, it would both of them would have done different things based upon the weapon, the spacing, everything. I also kind of even when I was watching it last night with my pastor, I really wish that when Moff Gideon gets beaten and he's down, he says, "Oh, you're sparing my life," and he just immediately launches into it. I wish Din Djarin had said, "No, I'm just savoring the moment."
Yeah, I was waiting for the saber through the bottom of the neck,
and I'm just like,
I was totally waiting for it.
He's like, "No, I'm savoring the moment," and just get him. I'm like, yeah, that would have gotten me to cheer, but.
Yeah, that would have made a lot of people very upset.
Oh no, that would have been great.
No, I'm talking about in canon. Everybody on the bridge would have been very mad at him. More so than Bo-Katan already was.
No. So Bo-Katan's gonna be mad at him no matter what, because he's got the Darksaber, which he won in ritual combat. Gotcha. Don't care. Even Cara Dune wouldn't really care because he brings him back alive.
She specifically said she wanted him alive.
Yes.
So if he had killed her or killed him, she would have been very upset.
But he's a bounty hunter. And the bounty on him was clearly alive or dead, because when he comes in and he's alive, she says, "I guess I'll have to pay double." Aha! Wreck you with facts and logic.
Do you though?
I do.
Do you?
And it's just it's a cheap throwaway line, but it gives him a reason for keeping him alive. Which it does, and he's a pretty good character. I'm glad he's still alive. I think that not Carl Weathers. Wow. Never mind. Giancarlo Esposito. I can't imagine why I would have difficulty remembering that name. I think he's doing a fantastic job with him. I would like to see more. He's very condescending, which I particularly like. Yeah. I think it would have been just a great cinematic moment to be like, no, I'm just savoring the moment. Yeah, get him. But, I have my issues. Just a couple of them that pop up frequently. Too.
Word.
I think kind of curious what happened to the doctor guy. Not super curious, but clearly he's in custody somewhere. Still don't know what the blood was being used for. We know that it's being used to make clones, but we don't know what the clones are of. Certain that will come out eventually. Loose end still wrapped up. Did the other Mandalorian girl die?
What Mandalorian girl?
Okay, so
Sabine?
No, not Sabine. So the one who beat up Boba Fett in the bar.
Uh-huh.
At the end, we clearly.
Oh, you're right. It's a good question. Did she die?
This is kind of like Jet.
Because she never did get back up.
Yeah, she didn't get back up. And he shot her until she fell down. And I'm like, is this the first instance we have on screen of the Mandalorian armor not catching all the blaster bolts?
Well, he didn't. He shot where there was no armor.
This brings up an interesting point, Masters. Why didn't anybody else try that?
Well, for the same reason that he wasn't on the bridge. He's smarter than the average stormtrooper.
Smarter than the average bear. That's not Yogi.
Hey, boo-boo.
There's way too much grit in that to be way too much grit in that to be Yogi Bear. Hey, boo-boo. I'm smarter than the average bear.
What was that laugh?
I have no idea. It's just something that happens. It's something I need to stop, but I've been putting that on all my characters. I'm really trying to stop, but it's hard. Yeah, really. I want more, and we have to wait until like April to get something more. I think is the best, which I'm totally excited for. See. Not 29. 21.
Let's see.
Okay. Bad Batch and Boba Fett.
April 2020 is when the Acolyte comes. December 2020 is when Lando comes. What?
Not 2020, because this is 2020.
Oh, no. It says in December 2020, Lucasfilms announced.
Yeah.
They don't have dates for these on this website that I'm looking at. That's a useless website.
Bad Batch is next. Book of Boba Fett, December 2021. Ahsoka, Rangers of the New Republic, the Cara Dune spin-off. I'm super I want to see her before, either before or after. She might be the one who picks up the Moff Gideon thing, and chases down the clones. Because that would make actually a lot more sense if this was a continuation rather than a retro or prequel.
Yeah, so we're gonna get the Bad Batch is the only thing we're gonna get before Mandalorian comes out.
I mean, and the Bad Batch is. In my opinion, there is no way that the Bad Batch can.
Have you seen the trailer yet?
Yes. I see nothing that I've seen from the trailer or experience from Dave Filoni tells me that there's anything in it that
I have not watched it, and I won't.
Kenobi coming out. We're not sure if that. I think this is actually a series. One of these is actually supposed to be Acolyte. Rogue Squadron is in 2023. This looks like it's actually going to be. Apparently there was a teaser trailer that was dropped for that, and I've heard about the teaser trailer, and there's not really anything in it. Just Patty Jenkins saying about how her dad was a fighter pilot, and she's always wanted to portray that accurately on screen. And now she has a chance to, and she throws a helmet on and walks like off camera, and the camera pans, and she's walking towards an X-wing, and then it's the end of it, and it's like that tells me nothing useful. Darn it! I that does not tell me anything useful. That doesn't get me excited. That just tells me that you have a director for. Congratulations. What does have me excited is that Taika Waititi is supposed to be picking up a Star Wars movie, and we don't know what that is yet. And that is very exciting to me because he just does good stuff. I have not seen anything from him, either acting or directing, that I haven't liked.
Thor 3 is my favorite Marvel film, so
it's at least in my top 3. It's really tough to beat. Looking forward to see Lando. I think Lando could be fun if they did like a Godfather 2 thing and they flip back and forth between Donald Glover, old Lando, young Lando. Could add a little bit more to it because otherwise it's going to be all, which is not bad, but I think it'd be kind of interesting to throw a little bit of extra depth to it. Star Wars Visions doesn't really tell me anything except that this is probably going to be like there was a series of books that came out called the Tales series. It was like Tales from the Empire, Tales from the New Republic, Tales from the Rebellion, Tales from the Mos Eisley Cantina, Tales from Jabba's Palace, Tales of the Bounty Hunters. And they were all really good, but they were all just like these short form stories that were like maybe 10 or 15 pages long, maybe a little bit longer. And they just highlighted little tiny snippets of the larger Star Wars universe. And I think that this could be a great window to a lot more of kind of the same basic idea. That's kind of interesting. Droid story sounds like a cash grab.
yeah, 100%.
Well,
let's be honest. Aren't all of these?
As I am now actively promoting the idea of the Filoniverse, anything that is in the Filoniverse, I will give the benefit of the doubt to, in terms of it being actual art versus a cash grab. Because he seems like he actually.
So what
cares.
you're saying is you're a sellout.
If you'll give me one of those black hats, I'll say it. I will say it on. I would never go to. I'll find some or California. I'll find some place very public to say it from. More public than this tiny little insignificant. As long as he gets me a black hat.
We have 4 viewers, listeners.
3.5. Ducky doesn't.
That's only because he's not that great at math. But
the best news of all is that like all the rumors about the Rian Johnson trilogy have pretty much evaporated.
What Rian Johnson trilogy?
After he did episode 8, they were talking about giving him a full trilogy in the Star Wars universe to work with. And apparently that's no longer happening. Which I think
wise decision.
I think immeasurably wise decision. Unless that's just something that just decided to do anyway. Kevin Feige is rumored to be doing something, but no. Yeah, so much good stuff coming. I'm hoping we'll see Bad Batch by like March. That seems to make a good sense. Timing. Just because they want it to be finished before the Book of Boba Fett starts, and they also want it to be. They don't want to leave too big a gap between. Particularly if it's actually good Star Wars that people want to watch. Been dealing with the last couple of years. So yeah. In case it wasn't obvious, I'm super excited. Of
You don't
course.
say.
Now I just had a very bad thought, Master. I need to try and get back. I need to put out some more acting applications, because if they're making all this Star Wars content, and they specifically wrote a role for a guy who specifically made fun of Star Wars people for like 20 years, my chances are not zero, and just practically zero. For all intents and purposes, they are. But like, I could end up in a Star Wars movie, man, or a Star Wars show. I could be the guy under Stormtrooper helmet number 7 who gets blasted in the face. Like, that could be me in 2 years. You don't seem nearly as enthusiastic about this as I am.
Eh.
If I do, and I get kind of like a weird, and it turns up being more than just, Stormtrooper helmet number 3. You want to come on as my Ugnaught sidekick?
Is that a fat joke?
No, it's a short joke. You could be the new Queel.
I have spoken.
Who is undoubtedly, I mean, I have no lack of love for Mayfield, but Queel was the coolest character in season 1. Unquestionably so. I have spoken. It is a little grittier. I have spoken.
I have spoken.
I just want more Star Wars, dadgummit. Why do we have to wait months? I'll be fine, don't worry. Whew. Oh. Masters, I've discovered something that we need to do. Humbles.
Okay.
That's got that wrong. I kind of want to correct him, but I'm just gonna let him let him learn about that one in real time.
Well, he's not learning about it in real time if you don't correct him now.
No. I mean, like, when he, yeah, fine. I feel like this applies to fine.
Oh my god. Too true. Too true. So are we moving on from Star Wars?
We can move on from Star.
Okay.
I've now.
Have you seen Firefly?
Yes.
Did you know they're doing a reboot?
Am I particularly enthusiastic about?
Not at all. My sister sent it to me,
If they can get Nathan
and I
Fillion back
responded.
and Alan Tudyk.
I responded, hopeful pessimism.
Like if they can get Nathan Fillion and Alan Tudyk back, I think they can do something. But
I don't think that they would reprise their roles, though. They would have to be something else.
I mean, if they do it, so there was talk for years that Nathan Fillion needed Nathan Drake from the Uncharted series. Now that's Tom Holland. I have an interest. Again, we have a Brit playing a very American character. They give this one to Tom Holland too. Actually, you know what? Screw that. You know who should play? You know who should replace Nathan Fillion? Since apparently, I mean, you're right. He is like I don't think he would. Plus, he's also. Oh, it happens. He'd be really expensive. But what if they got Chris Pratt?
Okay. I don't know. He's a bit too goofy, though.
He's goofy, yeah. But he's also done some other stuff where he's not been so goofy. But he's most famous for his goofier stuff. But like I could almost see Chris Pratt just. I mean, it basically is Star-Lord. Basically.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah, it's just like I can see it. I don't know how much I would like it. I definitely don't think they can afford it.
The main issue is that it's going to be on Disney Plus. That show ain't Disney Plus material, if you know what I mean.
Well, there's some talk.
I mean, they have a prostitute on their ship, for crying out loud.
I mean, there's some talk that Disney is going to have to start loosening some strings because stuff they are now in possession of that doesn't fit on their platform that they want to put on their platform, like Logan.
Yeah, they put that stuff on Hulu.
So the Wolverine was up, and then it was back off. That was due mostly to a contract dispute. But and it's actually going to come back on, I think, for January. But there's also like Logan has some source material there. So there might be some room. I don't know. I'm they might start having a question or a login thing that'll age gate stuff. That would make sense to me. I think it's really just a matter of time before you.
So I love Disney.
Huh?
Everybody knows that.
Really?
But they can't build a website to save their daggum lives. If they try to age gate anything, it's just going to be a mess. Like, their websites have always been garbage.
Gotcha.
Complete garbage. I mean, Disney Plus is a garbage website. It's got so many problems with it, between UI and just quality of life stuff.
Like, I despise the fact that I have to. There's like 9 clicks I have to make to get out of watch.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I'm like, where's this like the little taskbar that sends me back to the home list or anything?
Yeah. Yep. and then if you finish watching something, it takes you over here. We suggest this, and you have to click show details, and then you have to click okay. I don't want to watch this, and then you have to go okay. Well, now I need to go here. Okay, now take me to the home screen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I need to go back in to find something that I want to watch.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
It's faster to just have it set as a bookmark and just click it and go there.
exactly,
Mhm.
exactly. It's ridiculous, and there's no like if I've watched a show all the way to the credits,
Yep.
I've watched the show.
Yes.
If I click on the show again, don't start me at the credits again.
Right.
If I want that episode, start me at the beginning or start the next episode. And you literally have to watch. There is no play next episode. You literally have to watch all the way through the credits before it even gives you that option.
Mm-hmm.
And if you try to fast forward, it will not fast forward past the last 10 seconds.
I know.
So the furthest you can get is to the last 10 seconds. And then you have to sit there and watch 10 seconds of it before it'll then go to the screen where you can click. Which you have to click to watch the next episode. It's a freaking mess.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
And their other websites are not any better. I don't know who they're hiring as web developers, but they need to hire better web developers.
Yes,
It's
they do.
probably just one guy locked in a room.
Speaking of web design and video streaming platforms, I made a discovery last week, which was not a good discovery to make. And I've already admitted this to Friendly. I discovered that Netflix has included a speed up button. And I watch everything on YouTube at ×2 and would do it on ×3 if they had the capacity. Now that I know that I can watch things faster on Netflix,
I thought you were getting rid of Netflix.
well, I'm not the one who pays for Netflix. Other people do. And they didn't get rid of Netflix. So I still have Netflix. Which, it worked out when I was trying to watch cheap trash 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, just bad thing. Awful thing. I watched a live action adaptation of a Chinese manga. It was horrific.
That does sound like garbage.
It's hot garbage. Set in the sun for I watched 7 episodes. I have no excuse. Like, I did this to myself. But yeah.
Yep.
Oh, speaking of something that we were talking about earlier in the beginning, I just buy stuff for myself that I want/need. I finally got my kettle. Anytime I want to. I have the cord is like 18 inches long, so it's not great. But like I need an extension cord bad. But it's in my room right now, and like all I have to do to get hot tea is just like flick the button with my foot, and like 2 minutes later I have hot tea.
Okay. So you made me forget, but I remembered.
Oh, the something or other? Star Wars?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So going back to that, let's see here. I wrote this in my notes. Can confirm. Gavi is Moff Gideon. Quote. Assume I know everything. End quote.
Yep. This is I caught that and I'm like, I thought, yeah.
Yeah,
there are-
he said that, and I went, got to write this down.
Yep. Assume I know. Like people go on my Twitter, it says assume I know everything. That's the start of my bio.
That's also in my notes. It says it's literally in his Twitter bio.
It's how it begins. Assume I know everything. Then when I don't, we can all be disappointed together. Probably also the worst person ever.
Oh my goodness. Well, Mr. Gavi, is there anything else you have to speak on?
On my fun things here, I've got all my Christmas gifts from me. Yeah, I think we're good. Nothing really comes to mind. Anything else you can think of?
Nope, I got nothing.
Okay. We got about 2 hours in it. It's about accurate, about normal. Second. People asking me tough questions. All right. All right. Here we go. Ah. So, with that being said, and we have clearly run into things. Thank you all for listening, tuning in, enjoying yourselves. Hopefully, we certainly have enjoyed ourselves to some capacity here tonight. If you did enjoy, and this is your first time here, feel free to hit that subscribe and like button down below. It certainly helps us out, but what helps us out even more is to share this podcast, all of your social media platforms, and let them know that there are weird people on the internet that they have not encountered yet. That more than anything helps this podcast to grow and become eventually someday a 5-listener audience. That would be amazing. So yeah, looking forward to that day coming in the far distant future. Until next time, I think we will say adieu. Good night.
I never say goodbye to the.
Yes, you do.
Okay, maybe not never. Rarely.
Did last time and the time before that. Well,
Maybe.
not the time before that. Time before that. Bye.